Ndị be anyị na-abọọla chi. Anyị sị ka ọ dịrị unu na mma. Anyị sị ka nke onye chikwelu ya zelụ. Dịka o si dị, ya bụ Igbo Media ka anyị si bịa na uhuruchi nketa iwetara unu ya bụ ozi gbasara maka ihe na-eme na the Old Eastern Region. Dịka unu anụ ka o si ada, nwanne anyị nwoke wetara anyị ozi n'elu akwụkwọ. Nke ahụ o wetara bụ, o kwuru sị na ndị Nigerian gọọmenti bụ nke onye isi fa bụ President Bola Tinubu fa agbago nkịtị na atụmatụ ndị mmadụ na-eche gbasatara maka ka e ga-esi budata Maazị Simon Ekpa bụ the Biafran Prime Minister. Ndị be anyị gekwenụ ntị. Former Nigerian President Buhari escapes reportedly swallow ICC Kenya court order papers disappear over his health. Here the news in details. Ka nkọwarụ na ya na Igbo. A sị na Tinubu lụrụ akwụkwọ eji wee nye order from Kenya. Ndị ICC ji wee nye order from Kenya ka eburu ya. O wee n'ọdị akwụkwọ wee buru ya jebezie UK. Is joke sha. Ihe ga ya bụ ife. Agwa gị na onye ọbụla aka ya dị n'ije Maazị Nnamdi Kanu ya ata afụfụ. Ọ bụrụ egwuregwu. Ka m kwụsịgoro ya ebe a, ka m kwụsị ebe a. Dịka ihe ga ya bụ ife bịa kabalụ kere ya ati ya ewetere unu. Over to you.
President, Buhari, has been rushed to a clinic there in London, UK. They said he's been managing his health and he's been complaining for some time, but he had to be rushed because the condition was getting worse. And this has gotten a lot of people's attention as regards this. We've seen the IGBOs, we've seen the dental data come out, and somewhere, there was mixed reaction as regards this. Some were happy, and why some were claiming that this is the fake Buhari, that the real Buhari is dead. What's your take as regards?
Yeah, whatever it is, the UK mail that first broke the news that Buhari was dead, it was not really Maazị Nnamdi Kanu. People does not understand that, but it was a UK media platform that actually broke the news that Buhari was dead. That was around 2017 or thereabout, years, if I can remember, where he disappeared from the space, and after emerging as the president, but Buhari first took ill around April or 2016 or 2015, if I can remember, and we've seen that his health deteriorated to the extent that in around 2017 he disappeared from the surface of his earth and went to an unknown location for where he spent days, and there was this speculation, because nobody could reach him, the media couldn't reach him, Nigerians couldn't reach him, and that what triggered the news then that he was actually a clone dead man. And they're not in their usual stuff, just like what we saw during Jonathan and Yar'Adua. We saw very clearly that the manipulation that took place when Yar'Adua was confirmed to have been dead. The media, the Northerners, keep on covering that aspect of it until when he was brought back to Nigeria, even to an extent, they took light, so similar thing happened to Buhari, and we have not been able to get to that level of really unveiling whether the Jubril we saw or the real Buhari, but that has been kept in secret. For the man to come out and said, severally that, that the kind of medical attention and equipment and other things he saw or he went through, or some of, raised that speculations that the Northerners they might have been into something very secretive that they has kept a secret by themselves. So that was what triggered that, and he came and managed to stay 8 years in office. And on May 29, 2023, he left office anyway. And since that time he left office, around April, he was also flown out again. So, I remember when Shetima and the rest of them led a visit to him, and they were able to move him from Daura, to Kaduna. Suspiciously, Nigerians start having that suspicion that something must be ongoing. And since that time, Buhari has not been spotted anywhere in the public, and the triggering speculations that Nnamdi Kanu, might have a detailed information, about the identity and the personality of a man, who appeared from the horizon and took over the mantle of, leadership for over 8 years, So the UK Mail that broke that story, has not been giving the public, a more investigative, story or news about the whereabouts of Muhammad Buhari, whether it was late or they not decided to play a game against Nigerians that is best known to them. But unfortunately, according to Gaba Shehu, who is also Buhari's media aide, there's a lot of things, that we are hearing now. It's possible that Buhari might not might be late. God forbid. We are just saying that, it's possible because from the what we are hearing from the undisclosed hospital where he was being seen last, smuggled within that space, within that area, he is not something funny. We pray that it is not what it is, but whatever it is, and that is Buhari for you, an arch enemy of the Igbo people, an arch enemy of anything that has to do with Biafra, an arch enemy, and the brain behind the extremism, the Islamic agenda, and the Fulanization of Nigeria. I remember years ago, Buhari can never be associated with anything that has to do with the goodness of any Igbo man, any time, any day, because the guy is clearly, purely an anti-Igbo. And these are the people that are suspecting, as being reported in different quarters, that he might have been the brain behind the recent, unleash of the Fulani herdsmen, bandits, killer squad, sects, extremism, name them, jihadist agenda and all that, because this is a man, who has made several statements, threatening anybody who want to rise against the Islamization of Nigeria and the Fulanization of Nigeria. So the news is everywhere. We need to know whether Buhari is still alive and whether he is late.
Okay, but a lot of people have a lot of Igbos currently on social media are saying that this was the same man that declared IPOB as a terrorist group, and at the same time he said he will talk to the IPOB and the Igbos in a way they will understand. That was when Nnamdi Kanu created ESN and vowed to protect the Igbos. But a lot of people have said even the same Buhari, up till now we don't know where the wife is. We are not hearing from the children, that they are still insisting that it's fake Buhari, and at the same time they feel that what is happening to him is well deserved as regards him kidnapping Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya.
And you can see that atrocity maybe because of the recent revelation about what happened in Kenya. His health, deteriorated because yes, the shock. So the whole thing is very clear. He was, of course, like I said before, something else when it comes to anything that has to do with Igbo. But thank God that he met his mate in Nnamdi Kanu, and Nnamdi Kanu have, actually taught him a very big lesson. He never succeeded. The only thing is that these are the people who use the likes of Hope Uzodinma and the rest of them, to infiltrate the eastern part of the country and begin to cause serious havoc by deploying the so-called repentant Boko Haram in the Nigerian army, deploying them entirely to the eastern part of the country. He added to the issue of insecurity and liars to some governors, created the Ebuka. The Ebuka were busy killing the Igbo people. I remember he said, the Igbos are a dot nation, he was making some kind of mockery statement about the people whom he later came to acknowledge they are a force to reckon with. So Buhari, for me, is no good area for any Igbo man, and I can tell you very clearly that that man you are seeing there, that was taught a big lesson by Nnamdi Kanu, will never regret. The international community and the ICC has already mapped out plan to get him to explain his role, how he got involved in the issue of illegal rendition and kidnapping of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. I think it became worse. His health became worse after hearing the victory of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's court case. For now, we are still watching the development from the news we are getting. Buhari might not be able, to face ICC this time around because it is not going to find it funny. Imagine Buhari spending the rest of his life in ICC custody, being locked up somewhere for violating the Commonwealth Treaty and for compromising the Kenyan government. It's a criminal act, and coupled with a lot of things that has been attached to his government. Massive corruption, looting, the killing of the Igbos, and those how he liaised with Wike and the rest of them. Also, Carlo, these are the people he actually used to destabilize the eastern part of the country and create pure insecurity, allowing the current security threat we are seeing now in terms of the jihadists in the eastern part of the country battling to see how they are going to infiltrate the political space and of course take over the indigenous communities of the eastern part of the country, which is referred mostly as Biafra.
Okay, but one thing you mentioned, he said, Buhari might not be able to survive the onslaught, from the ICC. But we've heard the United Nations and the US, come out to, finger, Buhari as the pioneer, as the person that created the security. That is, he partnered with Umahi and Uzodima to create Ebuka, who were fingered as people that were killing people in the southeast. Do you think this is one of the main issue why Buhari knows that he might be taken to world court? That's why he's kind of perturbed and scared as regards this.
He's a very cunning man. There is a very somebody that is that has, when you look at him very well, these are these patrons and the pioneers of jihadists in this part of the world, and he has never put anybody on his activities, because I remember some time ago when there was this issue of negotiation, and Boko Haram, we are calling him, they were saying he's their life patron and this and that. And these are the people who went as far as signing a document that the Fulanis should be allowed to settle finally in Nigeria, from all over the world. That is what is happening now. But let me just say it very clearly. All those people that were involved in that agenda, with Buhari supervising the killing and the infiltration in the Biafra land, they have all failed. Nobody can survive, that.
Ngwano dalo nine no ụmụnne m dịka si na-esere n'Igbo Media, gịnị ka unu nwere ikwu na nkọwa nke unu gbasịta maka ihe unu n'iru akwụkwọ n'ụbọchị uhuruchi nke taa? Gwa anyị ife iche n'ụdị nke gị, deela ya n'akara kọmentị ka mara ihe i chere, ma chetakwa tụsa ya bụ ozi ka o wereta ụmụnne anyị ndị ọzọ ntị. Ndewo na ụmụnne m, ka emesịa nụ.